Hi, this is Seamless, and today I'm going to go over a bass that's featured in a track that I'm working on. As usual, that's kind of how things roll, but I'm not actually going to show you the track because I don't actually like it just yet. I like some of the design that I'm doing, but right now it's very just not representative of anything good in life. So, whatever. Here's the bass. Here's the bass. All right, so what's going on with this is that it's actually kind of a whole bunch of little things adding up to be a cool thing. As you can see here, it's called a cool thing. Now, principal sound modulation. There's a filter going on in the main channel. It's the most basic low pass filter of all time, with not even that much resonance going on. I'm just gonna turn that off so that we can hear what the sound sounds like without it. That's what it sounds like. Now, this kind of sounds like I think it was How to Bass 26 that did the phase verb, where we used the detune function to create a phase cancellation in the lower frequencies, which creates the wobble. Now, you're thinking, okay, what we're making the phase cancellation. Well, why is that causing the wobble? Obviously, it brings the low frequencies in and out. Actually, just more or less the lowest frequency. It's the fundamental. It brings that out, and when it comes out, the rest of the sounds are more audible. And this is because distortion, which I'm using a lot of, is a type of compression. And the way that compressors work is that as a peak comes in, a loud, high energy sound comes in, it brings down the peak to 0 dB, and then in the process of doing that, if you're using a single band compressor, the process of doing that brings down everything else. So what this will do is it will bring down the lower frequencies, or the higher frequencies, because those are less high energy sounds, and then the low frequencies will just overpower it all. And then when the low frequencies get phased out because of the unison that's going on, it's actually this one. I have two of them. When it actually gets phased out like that, it allows the higher frequencies to come back for a second, and then it phases back and forth, and that creates the overall wob. I guess it's modulation in audio. Actually, I'm gonna bring this on and just bring it down. I only like those high frequencies to be active for the highest frequencies, obviously plus 10K, to be active for just a little second, which is why I do the fast modulation the way that I do. But let's look at what's going on. So as I was talking about before, we talked about it before by using the detune function, but we're actually going to use the unison function. And the reason why we're doing this is because despite the fact that we're using two voices and we're spreading the pitch of the fundamental in a big way, and like you see there's sparseness going on in the mid frequencies. There's not actually really any mid frequencies, because in the local EQ, which is the EQ for the basic waveform, is why it looks as weird as it does, there's those differences going on in the mid frequencies, and you can see it in the resulting visualizer here, precisely which frequencies are being zeroed out. There's also a lot of phasing going on, and this is what I mean. This is what I mean by a bunch of little things adding up to be something cool. But the biggest thing is that I'm really very fiercely unisoning. I'm spreading pitch of the fundamental frequency, this most bottom one here. And now you'd think that if you spread it far enough, eventually it'll sound like two tones, which is true. But at this level, the amount that we're spreading it, it won't sound like two tones. It'll sound like the sound and then cancellation. It'll sound like so actually I can demonstrate this. Hummer. Okay. No pattern. All right. I don't want to name it. Go away. All right. So I'm going to go into the timbre here. I'm just going to bring down everything except for the most basic fundamental. So then I'm going to unison it. I'm going to bring the phase to 0. And that's what happens. The tone that is audible is the bass tone, the note that we're playing. Well, because the pitch difference is creating phase cancellation, it modulates the amplitude of the waveform, but the waveform is still the note waveform. And so we can take advantage of that by putting a high unison value on just the fundamental, and other stuff just to cause more interesting soundscaping. But put a huge value on that, and then we can use the pitch slider here to change how fast the speed of the modulation is. But you note that no matter how fast it is or how high the pitch value is, the fundamental tone is still the right note, which was not the case when we did the detuning phase warble, because we were actually moving all the frequencies away from the fundamental, which created the illusion that the fundamental was not the right note. Even though the fundamental was, it was actually just all the other frequencies that weren't the right note. So that's why we're doing it the way that we're doing it this way. This way we can have the control. I can just map this to X, or just automate it directly, which is what I did here. And the difference you can hear in the sound between this one and this one here is that I have the square and saw mix controlled here, and then when it's all the way up, it's square, and when it's all the way down, it's saw. And the saw is has the higher frequency screech going on, because I had the peak in the frequencies in that area, and then the square does not. Now that screech that's going on is actually the result of there's this kind of business, but also I will go back to local EQ. I just have a giant peak at those frequencies. You can see that peak right there. And now, as I said before, the local EQ, you have local and global EQ. This is the global EQ, and this is the EQ that's based on frequencies and not by note octave, harmonic octave. The local EQ is based on the note octave. So this is octave values, which is why it follows each of the notes. That peak is harmonically relevant, I suppose is a way to describe it. So just to go over, the whole point of the sound is that we were able to do the phase warble thing, but we're able to also keep the correct note value. We're able to stay in tune as a result of really focusing the warble on the fundamental. Because again, distortion being the kind of compression it is, when there's a lot of low frequency sounds happening, it's going to overpower the high frequencies. So when they get phased out as a result of phase cancellation, the high frequencies will come in, which is what's going on in that warble. I'm gonna not actually turn it all the way off, just enough. And such. I just want to show you what it looks like when I move the peak. Lots of options. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them. And as usual, have a nice day.